Hey, what's up, y'all? This is AJ.
This is Bryce.
And we are
Filter, No Filter Brothers.
And today's topic is, what's the deadly combination?
Deadly combination? Is there a deadly combination?
There is one.
What are we talking about?
Sex and drugs.
That could be deadly.
Let's find out.
All right.
Who we got today?
Well, we have with us, and I'm just going to give a description of just one adjective I would say would be fine.
He's
handsome.
He's a red bone.
Yes. A nice piece of caramel.
Beautiful teeth.
Yes.
Nice smile.
Muscles.
Yeah.
So, why don't you go ahead and...
Good hair.
Is it good hair?
It's good hair.
I want to see what the hair is down below.
Okay, so with us today we have EJ. We have EJ with us today, and he has an interesting story that we kind of want to hear about today because there's so many people dealing with this deadly combination on one extreme to the other.
Right.
And so we just want to explore that a little bit and talk to the audience, get to inform the audience about some things, and maybe we can help somebody today.
And because I think a lot of people may have driven down this avenue. So
for sure.
Let's just go ahead, AJ. So, AJ, tell us about yourself.
EJ.
EJ.
Yep.
I'm drinking.
I'm the AJ. He is EJ.
EJ. And I'm Bryce.
Yeah. Put that cup.
I got to do another sip of Tito.
Anyway, EJ, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Are you native Ohioan?
I am not.
You're not. Where you from?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, because they don't make them this sexy in Ohio.
Yeah, they don't. You run into them here and there, but either they already taken, then you know.
Oh
that's
yeah,
usually how it happens.
I know that story.
Okay. So tell us about yourself. So you're gay.
Yes.
Are you out or?
I'm out.
Okay. So when did you discover that you were gay?
I discovered when I was gay well, I'm at the backtrack.
Okay.
I was living. Me and my sister lived in New Jersey from like 8 to 9, 10 years old. I had a cousin that always came over. So I would consider myself. I would consider I got molested. Me and my sister.
Both of y'all.
Yes.
How old was he?
16.
So he was about 5-6 years older than you. Okay. Yeah, that's molestation.
So he basically it was a consistent happening. I didn't know really what was going on. I knew that my first ejaculation was with my cousin,
Right.
giving me oral.
Okay.
Never experienced it ever in my life. It was something completely new to me. That's when I knew.
How old were you?
16.
You were
That sounds like 12, 13.
You busting nuts at 12.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, and when I said I was holding on to 2 trees. Oh my God.
2 trees?
Because he
was
had,
outside?
so he basically played it like he was taking us out to go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So he would take me and my sister out. My grandma had a dog, and we would take the dog out for a walk. So we took the walk, and we ended up going into like the woods or something like that. So we was walking through the woods and everything, and then he just grazed me a certain type of way. So it kind of, I didn't know what it was, but I didn't know why my dick got hard.
Okay.
So that was where the curiosity started.
Okay.
He started the curiosity of what that is.
So he was grooming you?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
Wait, so did you tell? Because most people don't tell.
Not until 2019.
Jesus Christ.
Wait. 2019?
So you didn't tell
2 years ago?
Yes.
Wow.
And that was, my mom was living here, and since she actually was living with me at a point in time, and it kind of just, she said my cousin was here in the city, and when she told me that, I was like, what cousin? Who? And when she said it, it was just like, you know what, I gotta tell you something.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
Because I forgot. It was more like you've been through everything I'd already been through,
right.
but to go get thrown back all the way back to where it all started,
So you hadn't seen that cousin in a few years. And so why did you not tell? Because there's a lot of people out there listening that probably don't tell or didn't tell when they've been molested.
I didn't tell. I guess I didn't tell them because I guess I knew it was wrong, but at the same time, my grandpa was a bishop. My grandma was first lady, and we went to church maybe 3-4 times a week. Mm-hmm. And I think something that I can really consider that I was fighting it, trying to get through it. Even when I got back into care of my mom, I was still trying to fix it. I thought this isn't right. Someone did this to me, and now I'm having these feelings that I don't know how to deal with. So I basically just kind of like, seek God's face to find some type of healing, some type of way to get over and overcome. But it broke once my mom moved away from Pennsylvania. So when she moved away, this is 2021, so I would say like 2012, my mom left Pennsylvania, and that's when I came out. So when I came, that's when it actually broke, and I actually was able to admit it. Other than that, all that time, it was like a battle, because my grandpa, he can pull the scripture out, pull the scripture out on me real quick. And it ain't nothing. So I knew it was wrong then, but now it's like I done got to another city, whole nother state, and now I experienced my real first experience, right. Not just oral or anything like that. I started from the chat line, calling the chat line, having a conversation with someone.
Are you that old?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like
that chat line is something old.
That's old.
And we was living in Cleveland, like we was up in Cleveland area, so
that was megaphone.
Well, Cleveland's late.
We're not going to discriminate against
they
Cleveland.
Probably still have chat lines.
We got listeners in Cleveland.
But it was definitely...
So wait, did your sister tell? Or did you ever talk to your sister about her experience? Because
we've talked about it between, since we've been grown, we've been able to talk about it to get closure on why, okay, my sister's a year younger than me, but she has 5 kids.
Okay.
So she was running out talking about, I'm gonna be just like mommy. She had 5. My sister was not playing. She wasn't even 18, and she had her first child. So it was more like, I feel like it was just like a domino effect. So that situation happened. It turned into now my mom is battling with my sister. So I sat back and watched my sister go all the way downhill. Disrespectful, saying what she gonna do, saying I want a child, and the only thing it took me back to was my cousin. I mean, he had, not to be nasty, but he had an irregular size penis. So for it to be
was it large?
Yes. So that's what turned me out on liking big dick. Like I know that that's a craving that I have because of him.
And you think your sister's the same way?
I think she's sexually she got turned on to it by that, and she basically, we both kind of just like separated. Like even when we got back in my mom's care, she went one way, she went to going to foster care group home too as well. So we both have been in the same predicament. But as soon as my mom got her out of custody, got her back from CPS, I mean not CPS,
Child Protective Services.
Child Protective Services. She basically started to tell her, I'm gonna be grown, I'm gonna do what I wanna do, like, so it just, that situation, I feel like that really curved both of our lifestyles in a very dramatic way. I mean, to be sneaky and to be knowing, like, we're in our carport at my grandparents' house. And I feel terrible to say it, but I was actually on the lookout watching to make sure that my grandparents didn't come outside while he was feeling on my sister. And then vice versa. She did the same for me.
Wait, your sister knew that he was messing with you too?
Yes.
Wow. So, okay, so he groomed both of you.
Yes.
At the same time.
At
Is
the
he still
same time.
living?
Is he still, right.
Yes.
Have you talked to him yet?
Have not.
Do you want to?
No.
Would he come on this show?
No.
Right. Because that would be a
Yeah.
a banger of a show just to see the reconnect and the closure, because I think in order to move forward, sometimes we have to forgive the person, and it's not for them, it's for yourself.
Right.
So I think for you to move on, and you don't even have to do it in front of him, just personally just say you're forgiving him so that you can move on.
I feel like I was moving on by letting my mom know, look, you got somebody living in your house that did A, B, C to us. And she didn't want to believe it.
And then what? Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, like she did not want to believe it.
So she let him stay.
No, she put him out.
Oh, okay.
And then my sister, my sister called me, and she wasn't even living with her. But my sister called me, and she told me that she was like, John is living with Mama now. I'm like, wait, stop playing. The same one that did something to both of us is living with our mama,
And that's her nephew.
and her nephew.
Okay.
And I'm like, you know what? We're gonna handle this.
So do you think he molested your other siblings besides you two?
No, he lived in New Jersey. Me and my sister lived apart from our other brothers and sisters.
Okay.
So we got a different daddy.
Okay.
We got a different daddy, and my other brothers, my two brothers and my sister, they got a different daddy.
Okay.
Their daddy killed our uncle, and because of that, we had to go to our grandparents' house.
Oh, wow.
So we basically, elementary school, grew up with our grandparents.
So your stepdad killed your uncle.
No, yes, correct.
Wow.
Off of insecurity.
Why do I feel like I'm on an Oprah show right now?
No, Ivana. Ivana.
Well,
whatever her
well,
name
yeah.
is.
Fix your life.
Yeah, fix your
Wow.
life,
So I could drive back to the city, to the same house we was living in when it took place.
Wow.
So that's why I don't like going back to Pennsylvania.
So how regular was this?
How regular was what?
The being molested.
It probably went on for maybe 2 months.
Okay.
2 months.
And then
like
my
every
mom
week
got our
or
custody.
every
She
day?
got the custody back.
Okay. So when
No, like every other weekend
Okay.
or
He
something
would
like
come
that.
over,
Like he would
'cause
come
he didn't live
over.
with y'all.
He used that because we didn't get out, and my grandparents. We had an antenna, so we didn't have no cable or nothing. We got Barney to show up on the screen. We was happy,
Right.
So he would come over, and because he was our cousin, my grandparents would allow us to go with him. So he was our only way, because he was the oldest one. He was our only way to get outside. Other than that, we were in the house. We would be in the house.
What were they, holiness?
Yes.
Okay. So okay. All right. So you moved from there. What brought you to Cincinnati?
Actually, what brought me to Cincinnati, I decided that, it's like skipping over, moving into my first place in Canton, Ohio, and then I met someone, I got in a relationship, and, that's when I became positive.
Okay.
And then I started to figure out how to still build my character beyond that. So not to be like, that's that. Oh, now this is the end of the world or anything. So basically, I got on BGC. I met
BGC.
Yeah.
Wow, we're going way back.
Yeah, it's like
For those who don't know,
How old are you?
31.
For those who don't
young
know,
doing that stuff.
Right.
BGC.
it's been gone forever. So BGC stands for Black Gay Chat. For those who never heard of BGC, so it was
Some
one
of
of the
you
few
young kids.
black dating sites that actually was pretty decent in some aspects, because a lot of writers had a writing segment, so a lot of people were on there writing. So it's not just dating; you can actually explore different things. So wait a minute. So we did skip something. So your mom knew this whole time that you were gay, and she was accepting.
When we came back into the care of my mom, we was 14, 15. So she a year younger than me. Her birthday's on the 27th, I was 24. So we came back to her care. It was like 14, 15. So within a year, everything changed. She moved. I had a church home in Pennsylvania, and the church home, basically, I knew that the person I was basically like an armor bearer. Like I would be at the front of the church. I would be water, towel, while whoever the guy that I was under, he took me up under his wing. And my dad was never in my life, so that was the closest thing I had
To a
of a father figure.
Okay, and he kept that on the up and up.
Yeah, he kept that on the up and up.
Okay.
But my mom knew that he has a past history, but no one don't believe people to get delivered. So my mom was basically like, I need to get you away from this church. I was in.
You're a pretty boy, so I can see you being an arm bearer.
Okay.
I can see that. It's normally in the church when there's an arm bearer, they're always the pretty boys.
Oh.
So.
I have been back in a while.
Well, you just don't
I need to go back.
So around 14, 15, you told your mom?
It wasn't even like a told. It was, my mom was trying to discipline me. Okay. Well, she was disciplining my sister, and in the mix of disciplining my sister, it was like an argument. It was more like, you know what, I'm tired of just hiding this. This is what it is. And she had a boyfriend, so my mom had a problem. We all acknowledged that as my mom had a problem putting her boyfriends before her kids. So okay. I was the one that cooked for everybody in the house.
Was she single?
Yes.
Most single mothers do that.
So
unfortunately,
we will cook. She will cook. She'll make sure he eats, and then I gotta feed my brothers and sisters.
Oh wait a minute! You cooked the food and he ate the food.
Yeah, I will be in the kitchen with my mom making dinner, but she will take her plate, his plate. They go to the room, and then I'll feed my brothers and sisters.
I can't even believe he did that.
Okay.
So unmanly.
Well, that's a different whole.
But he was the one that was supposed to have been the disciplinary action when I came out. He was trying to rough me up and all this stuff, and I mean, surprisingly, what took the icing on the cake was that my mom, when he said that, oh, this is what you want to do. I had a little mountain bike. He had pinned the bike up on my chest, and he was like, so this is what you're gonna do, and this and this and this. I threw the bike down. My mom was in the house. I had flipped him over, had him pinned down on the ground. My mom came outside with the bat, talk about, oh, what you gonna do now? And by that point, I had let him go because it was just like, you let your boyfriend put his hands on me because I came out. Like, I'm telling you that I'm gay. It's just what it is. I like dudes. Right. I get it. I'm attracted to it. That's just what it is. But because she wasn't accepting of it, and because she's like, we grew up in the church. You know your grandpa ain't gonna have this and this and that. And I'll tell you, I got my grandma's Bible to this day because my grandma was the one that she highlighted everything in, and when she found out, she highlighted all the scriptures in the Bible that she said I need to read. She did pass away, so, but to have that one piece, I knew that was her Bible. She did her yellow marks in it, had the tabs in it, and the highlighter marking in on the scriptures. Like, so it was like they was like letting me know, like, you're gonna go to hell for this. Like, that's all I had. That's all I heard.
That's interesting because that was our last show.
That was our last show.
We talked about that.
Browbeating people with the Bible.
And how it doesn't work.
It does not work.
Right.
I think it make it worse.
So you're in Cincinnati.
Yeah. So I met someone and they decided that I needed to start over. So
from Canton,
Ohio.
Okay.
I needed to start over. That relationship was dead. I ended up getting into another relationship that basically they knew one another. So after going through that relationship, I realized that I just need to leave the city. Like, I need to start over somewhere else because he made it out to be that I was tricking and I was doing this. And I'm like, I was the only one. I was getting on the bus to go to work. I was getting on the bus. I was working 2 jobs. I was doing.
How old were you?
18, 19.
Okay.
So I moved to Cincinnati when I was 19. But when I turned 17 and a half, 18, just for 1 year, just having my own place, I went through that relationship when I was...
Now, were you going to school too at this time?
No, I was done.
You were done with school?
Yeah, when I got in my first apartment there in Canton, I was already done with school.
Okay.
So I graduated before I turned 18.
Okay.
There you go. So I graduated before I turned 18. Then when I turned 18, I got my first little apartment and I got my first boyfriend. So it was like, literally, I went to the doctor in February that following year, she was like, well, what the hell has happened? You was just negative last year, and I didn't have sex, so it was yearly. Like, so when I told her, like, you know, she was like, you know, everything is, you know, you just 3 weeks shy of last year when we did your test results, he was negative. But by that point, when I got that information, he was already gone.
Mm.
So I had this girl best friend that, man, after he left, that's when I showed symptoms. I was fine all through the relationship, but when he left, that's when I was having chills. I got in the showers. It felt like nails was on my back. It was very painful. I mean, to realize that I definitely had to get on medication. To go through it all by myself, it made me very tough.
At 18?
And yeah, to go through it by myself,
Wow.
made me very tough.
I'm sure.
That's why I wouldn't want to take nobody for granted and not share that with them, because I knew. That's the thing. I knew going into the relationship he was. You know, he shared that with me.
Okay.
But that was the twisted part with it, was that I was accepting, and I fell in love with him because of it. And then to fall in love with him, and then he still turn around and make me look like I was the villain, like I was the one that I was doing this. I thought you had it already. You know, all of that. That's where it took me to a
So
whole
he was older?
level up. Yeah, he was older than me. I was like 23.
Okay.
And you know, the crazy thing is that love makes us do some crazy things.
And I was looking for love because my
Exactly.
mom has already abandoned
Exactly.
me.
You know, your past trauma kind of set that situation up. Because sometimes when we're looking for love and we think we found it, it doesn't matter how dangerous and how deteriorating, how abusive it is, we still go into it.
Right.
And you're 18 at that point, and you think you found love.
At
The
18.
I thought it
HIV
was
thing,
it.
the
Right.
HIV thing didn't even, it
a
wasn't
factor.
even real to you.
Right. It wasn't a factor.
You know,
It was something
and
I was
then a
scared
year
of.
later, it became real. You know, and I think that's a lot of people
That's a
in this
lot.
lifestyle
Right.
go through that.
Right.
You think you in love, you think you're not gonna get it. They probably on something that makes them non-detectable, and then you end up positive.
But I'm observing.
That's a common story.
Yeah, but I'm observing even relationships into these years. I've shared mine, but I couldn't tell you on one hand when I seen them take their medicine.
Wow.
So I know me. I'm watching everything, their habits, how they cycle, what they do, what they don't do, just because I'm so used to being let down. So I'm already processing that you gonna play me. You not doing what you gonna do, but then I'm just, you know, you gonna get this whenever you wanna get it, but then I don't ever see you take the medicine. You say you will, but what medicine you on? I need to know, like, are you taking it? Like, you know, don't sit up and try to check me about my stuff when I'm good. But for someone that you meet and they say I've run into that so many times where they'll be like, oh, for real? I have never had nobody share that with me before. You thought you had a spark. And then all along, it was just another flame. Like, it didn't even matter. Wow. It didn't even matter. I even shared it. It didn't even matter. I didn't even have to say anything. I didn't have to say nothing. Because clearly they're already living in their shit. They're really living in that mess already. So they don't even, it's like, oh, here's another one. Oh, well, okay, let me see what can I benefit if I'm going to deal with this situation. What am I going to benefit from it? And as soon as they see they ain't getting too far, that's when, oh, I ain't getting a text back. Or, when I call, you don't answer. You know, like now you playing the missing game with me. So that's why, you know, to be standoffish is I think I'm starting to enjoy that more, because I don't want to have somebody feeling like, you know, you're entitled to say something to me because I shared that with you. I own mine. You know what I'm saying? I can't go in, even before I lay down, do whatever I'm gonna do, before I let somebody suck me, whatever. I can't even do anything until I clear my head. And that's the main thing is at the top of my head is I gotta let you know that I'm positive, right? I've been positive for years. It ain't a thing to me. And mine is more nonchalant now. It ain't a thing to me. Baby, I can run circles around you still. They don't mean nothing. And then half of y'all, that's more than what it is half of y'all, y'all don't care anyway.
True.
Especially when I moved to a city to start over to live in my truth.
Right.
That's what the difference was. I had gotten into a relationship that it created my future. Now I gotta make my own future because I'm not based off of, I don't know who it was, and I was just out here doing this and this and this in the streets, and I don't know who it came from. I know where it came from. That's why I know, like, I respect myself much more to know that I know who the fuck it is. There's people out here that don't even know.
Right.
Who?
That's true.
When?
Or
How?
don't even care.
Right.
Or even don't even care.
Yeah.
Wow. So that was at 18.
Yeah.
So 31 now.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. Just in that time frame from being molested and being put out and having to fight your mom's boyfriend because you're gay.
I ran away. After I fought him, I ran away.
And
I came back to the house. They moved out the place.
What?
I had to call. It was a number posted on the door that told me to call Child Protective Services.
Who left the number?
The sheriffs came and took me to the group mom. Somebody left it. They moved out the same apartment. I ran away for 2 weeks. I came back 2 weeks later. She literally packed up and moved back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And
With
left
the
me in
boyfriend?
Ohio. Yeah, and left me in Ohio.
So
Wow.
It's interesting because dysfunction or trauma in your family, it usually comes from your parents.
Yeah, it comes from.
It's clear that your mom is a little dysfunctional.
Now, but was her parents, your grandparents, abusive or?
Oh, that was strict.
Well, they were
The
holy
strict.
rollers.
They were holy
Wait a
rollers.
minute. That's
So-
just as abuse. That's
So
just
she was
as
holy roller, but she
abusive.
had multiple babies by different dads.
My mama, yeah, my
2 dads or
my-
3 dads?
Who?
Your siblings,
My sibling, 2. So me and my sister have
the same
the
dad.
same dad.
And
And my
y'all the
other 3
oldest?
siblings.
Okay.
Y'all the oldest.
Yeah, we're the oldest.
And so was that about a boyfriend who you had a fight with?
No.
Their dad?
No.
Okay,
It
so it was a
wasn't
whole other
nobody.
person.
It was a whole other person.
Oh, okay. All right. So she had multiple partners, just didn't have kids by them. Okay. How did your grandparents look at that?
Oh, they already had looked at it like, first of all, they're very judgmental.
Okay.
Yes, because
Okay.
they go by the word.
All right.
You ain't gonna have babies out of wedlock. You ain't gonna, they won't respect they didn't respect my mom because how she went about. She didn't get married first before she had us. She got pregnant. She moved out my grandparents' house when she got pregnant. She's
How old was she?
Okay, so my birth certificate say my mom was 17 and my daddy was 32.
Oh, okay.
So
So she moved out of that holiness environment.
Right.
But I was probably so.
And he probably was so
repressive.
different from the holiness church.
No, he was just out
Yeah.
of that house. And so all those holy rollers out there, you need to be careful. You think you God's gift and you pushing people away from you.
Which is totally
pushing
opposite.
your kids away.
Yeah.
And you have to be careful.
Right, because if you're truly saying you love God, God is love.
You
so
don't
can't
have to be
push.
in church all day, every day.
You don't.
3-4 times a week.
No.
Keeping
And-
kids in the house. That's abusive.
That is abusive. Very much so.
So
And to
y'all need to
highlight
wake
and
up.
use the Bible as a weapon,
Exactly.
I don't think that's what it was for.
Because
So-
God is about love. He's not about repression.
And hate.
And
hate.
Y'all need
So-
to stop it.
So you moved out, you found a lover, y'all were together for a while and all that, and then all of a sudden you're in Ohio by yourself. Children Protective Services is involved.
No,
Here
he's
in Ohio.
older.
No,
You're
I'm
older.
older, yeah.
Okay.
So
So-
my mom came back just to because when she found, Child Protective Services contacted her to let her know that I had been on the run for over a year and a half. I was 16 and a half, 17. And she basically came back to Ohio from Pennsylvania to sign her rights over to
Okay.
my boyfriend's mother that I was with at that point in time.
Wait a minute.
She ain't talked to me none of this time, but she came back to
Okay,
Ohio.
hold on, because I got to make sure I get that in my head. She didn't like the fact that you were gay,
Mhm.
but she signed over the rights to your boyfriend's mom.
Yep, correct.
Well, that's a statement.
That's interesting.
Did she even know your boyfriend? I mean, she just did it.
She did not have one. She did not have not even a day meeting with him. It was his mom called my mom, and they had that conversation. I didn't even know really what was taking place. All I know is that my mom showed up, and she was at the house that I was staying at. Once they couldn't even find me. I was living in the same city that I was on the run, and they couldn't even find me.
Well, that just tells you the systems really
Yeah,
not.
they wasn't really
I mean, I was
looking
walking
for you.
around, going to the bar, going to little
They wasn't looking
32
for
and
you.
up spots, going to the stripper offs and stuff like that. But
Now, how old was your? Okay, so your boyfriend was underage too because he was living with his mom.
no, he was on. He was 26.
Living with his mom.
He
Wait
was
a minute.
26 and you was 16?
No, that 17.
You was 17. He was 20. Why he just didn't? Why she didn't sign off the rights to him? He was
She
old
didn't
enough.
want. She wanted. That was the whole point. I met him while I was meeting somebody else, and he seen what I was going through. So it was like he grabbed me and said, "You know what? No, I'm gonna take you to my mama. My mama's gonna take care of you and make sure you good so you can finish out school."
Did he live there with his mom?
No, he was living in Columbus, but he came back to Cincinnati. Came back to Canton just because I was gonna be living with her.
Okay, now that's
Interesting.
That's a very interesting thing. Wow. Okay, so I'm trying to get my head around. This is a lot. This is a lot. Wow.
Okay, so he's in Cincinnati.
He's in Cincinnati.
How old are you when you're in Cincinnati?
I was 19.
19. Okay, so this is all past
Yeah,
that
all
point.
past that.
So you came here for a relationship?
Yes.
So you had a guy here?
Yes. He came and got me. I came with 4 trash bags.
4 trash bags.
Four black trash bags.
Ooh, that's gay.
Right.
He came and picked me up in a Jaguar convertible.
Really?
Oh, so he
And I
was
thought I
sugar
was
daddy.
moving up. I was about to move up. I said, "Oh, it's about time. It's about time." Because I was just in a relationship that they didn't even drive. So to move up, like, oh shit, okay, well maybe it's my time now. Maybe I can see the light at the end of the tunnel
Now, did he
somewhere.
pick you up from the Greyhound?
No, he came to Canton
Oh,
to
he
my
ca-
apartment,
How did you meet him?
BGC.
Shut the front door.
I went through and I put miles away. I put miles away, and he put miles away, and he just started conversating with me. He just had a conversation with me.
How old was he?
Well, then he was 42.
42 and
Whoa,
you
whoa,
was,
whoa, wait.
he was 19 and he was 42.
Yeah.
20-year difference.
And then
You know, it's interesting
But-
because
but-
what makes a 42-year-old
Living on the
want
DL.
to mess with a 19-year-old?
DL.
Like, what could he possibly
Okay,
give
wait,
her? Okay,
wait,
so
wait.
he was DL.
He was DL, had his own place.
Yep.
He moved you into his place.
Introduced me to his family members as a nephew.
Wait a minute. How is he introduced him to the family as the nephew? Lawless nephew?
Yeah, from some girlfriend from in the past.
Okay, Pete, you know, he's almost a pedophile.
Almost.
I mean, he was 19, so he's legal. But it's just not right.
Okay, but we got to look at all the elements within it because that's kind of normal age difference within the gay community.
19 and 40?
That's 20 years. It's normal. That's about normal. So
Like, what are you gonna get? What is the 42-year-old gonna get besides
we
something physical?
didn't say it was gonna last.
No, I'm not saying it's gonna last, but I'm like, what are you gonna get
Good
from a
sex.
19-year-old?
I was physically what he wanted as like, it was like I had chores. So I did laundry, I ironed his clothes, I did.
He was
he
a
gave me an
houseboy.
allowance. He gave me an allowance.
He was
gave
a
me a
houseboy.
car. I came here. I didn't drive. He
Right.
gave me a car.
Right.
So he created an image of a relationship that I could be in.
He was a houseboy. He was
He
cat.
didn't go out with me. We didn't do anything publicly together, but I was in a relationship with him.
Now, did y'all have an open relationship? Did he bring other people in, or was just y'all
He
two?
was a cop. So he was DL, nobody to know. Nobody, it was
Wait a
more,
minute. This is here in Cincinnati.
yeah, Cincinnati cop.
Okay. Wow.
How long did that last?
A year.
Okay.
And then he let me stay with him several months before he was like, well, I know someone. I got a family member that got an apartment. You know, you should go there because what he started to do was I thought I was saving money because I ran. That's a whole other side because I ran into meeting somebody that was cashing out basically. So I was basically stacking money in my pocket, living with him, and then he was wondering like, I gave you a car to drive, and you've been doing a whole lot of stuff to the car, and he was trying to balance where are you getting this money from. Mm-hmm. So when he was trying to figure that out, when he realized, and now when I got her, told him what it was, he was like, well, shit, you hit a lick. You see somebody for 10, 15 minutes, they make $300.
Right.
And that's every week. And I ain't got no job. What? I lived in Cincinnati 5 years and did not work, and I had a whole place to myself. Electric, gas, cable. Yeah, and I didn't have to sleep with him. I had to wake up to him.
Wait.
Oh, this was all. That was the piece on the side. That was the. Oh man, just even being in that situation. That was like I met a situation while I was in a relationship, and when we knew we wasn't gonna work, we knew we wasn't gonna work because he was set in his ways. So yeah, 42 years old, he's set in his ways. He ain't gonna do certain things that I would like him to do. We didn't go out. I started to see, why am I in a relationship with somebody that I can't even be seen with? How?
And you're 19.
He worked third shift.
The things that you wanted to do at 19, he didn't want to do.
He worked third shift. When he left for work, I hit the bar. I hit the club.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what?
I came in when he came in the morning. So he coming in at 6. I was coming in at 6.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So the relationship started to separate. It wasn't no relationship no more. Now it was just a job.
So
it was
all
a job.
you old men out there thinking you're gonna keep a young man, it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work.
If you trying to keep them in the house, locked up, they are going to get out. They are going to meet people. Mm-hmm. So you might as well think twice about that.
The interesting thing about this is that it's almost he's mirroring what he went through as a child.
Mm-hmm. Oh man,
he's when you know something, you do something until you know how to do something better.
Exactly.
So, and he was just repeating something because that was the lifestyle he had even when he was a child. So, the person who was molesting was older.
Right.
So that was kind of familiar. So, do you tend to like older men now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's not even. It's almost like it's a habit, or I can't get with someone my age, or I can't get with somebody younger than me. So it's always going to resort to me being either the same age or older, because my state of mind, I learned a lot from older people. So I process to be with somebody that's set in their ways, and you know how they are, and you deal with that for a year, and then you know how you can just work around it.
Right. Now, since you're getting older, now do you feel like you're set in your ways? Because you're not 19 anymore. I mean, you still look very young. I would not think you were 30, but you know.
I feel like that I tend to attract younger guys to me now.
Okay.
But it's the same thing he was doing to me, the 42-year-old.
Right.
He told me, I can see you only now. You're going to be my age doing what I'm doing when he met me.
So how you feel about that?
I don't really pay no attention because I don't believe it.
Because you're not attracted
to
young people.
No, I'm not. Because I'm not about to do all that extra work. I'm not about to try to raise you up, especially if you're from the city. No. I am not about to, because everyone that I know that I met and they under my age, they got their hand out. I ain't got time to be giving no handouts. I'm got my hand out. Shoot, I'm coming to pick you up. You want me to pick you up, take you to work, turn around and fuck you too, and you want me to do it to you? I don't want you. Next.
Okay, well that's being real.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So what percentage do you say fall into that category in the city? Because we're in Cincinnati. So, is it a high percentage or low percentage or?
You know, there's not a lot in the city like that anymore. I think a lot of people are starting to grow up and realize that they gotta have some stuff to come to the table. If you want to sit at the table with me, you're gonna have to have some background. You're gonna have to have a backbone of your own. I shouldn't have to speak for you. If you can't speak for yourself, I don't think we're gonna work, because if I want to talk to you about something, I don't want you to take it personal. And I'm personally, if I'm gonna be with somebody, I should be able to talk to you about anything. And if you take personal about, if I told you about a situation that ain't even before us, if I talk to you about it, you ain't supposed to get personal and feel some type of way and then turn it around in our relationship. And now you replaying some stuff like, I've already been through this already. Why are you trying to make me relive something that I already dealt with? You know, like, that's why part of the reason why I stopped, sharing my past relationships, because they go off of that here. That means Cincinnati, they go off of what you've been through already, and they pry at different things and see what they can get from it, to see what they gonna get from it. Okay. Especially when you ain't the one that's needing anything. They're the ones that need you more than anything else. So it's like, well, I'll just sit back. I like to soak like a sponge.
So
I started to realize that. Like, I like to soak like a sponge now.
So a piece of the deadly combination in this aspect is really trauma.
Yeah.
And how to move past the trauma.
And it's hard to do that when you don't know you're in it.
Exactly. Because you understand, you think that's life.
That's normal.
I think that's normal.
That's normal.
When people abuse you or take advantage of you. And so this deadly combination is trauma and abuse.
And navigating within it in an unhealthy way.
Right. Yeah. And it usually takes time and experience for you to mature enough to say, you know what, that wasn't right. The way that person treated me wasn't right.
Well, but you don't know it by that point. But you don't know it, because you tend to. And I had this when I was dealing with
you keep doing it over and over.
I was having a conversation with women who were being abused, and they constantly find other men who will do the same thing. Right. And it's a subconscious thing where you don't even know those are the characteristics you're looking for until you really start doing some healing. So for our listeners, don't sit there and thinking that you can't get out of it when you can, but it's going to take some work. Yeah. So, and it's going to take you to be really honest and go through the pain. Because
actually, an even better point is that when you feel inside yourself that it's not right, it's not right.
It's not right.
And you need to talk to somebody who understands that. And it might be an older friend, it might be a counselor, it might be somebody else who really knows what trauma looks like. Because at 19, you didn't know what trauma was.
We can even go before that.
At 16, you didn't know what trauma.
Right.
And it took you to, in your late 20s, to figure out, you know what, all of that stuff that I went through wasn't right.
Right.
And I think that we need to make sure that, one, we have somebody who we can confide in to talk about that stuff.
That's true. Now,
because if you would have had a big brother, even a mentor, they would have been like, no, come on. That's not what we're about. That's not what you need to be about. 16-year-old, 17-year-old, slow down. You're not going to move. You're going to get yourself together. You know what I'm saying? And you missed that piece. And it took you a few years to get to that point.
Right.
But what are your wounds getting to that point?
And you have to think about it from the standpoint of, if you look at the abuser, he probably was more than likely abused himself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because if you're doing that willy-nilly with brother or sister, something was doing something to you, and you just pass it on, because that was normal for you to do that. So, but what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and wrap this part, because we're talking about the whole thing about the pain, and then you're going to go move to what people do to go through the pain.
And comfort that pain.
And they numb it.
Exactly.
So
we'll be right back.
Right back.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is AJ.
This is Bryce.
And you can find us on multiple platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Audible.
You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We have a new phone number, 513-401-5715, and our email is filternofilterbrothers@gmail.com.
So download, listen, like, and share.